said, God, what is going on and what do I need? And he said, you need a coach, you need a therapist. Like, he literally was like, hey, this is who you need. This is the support staff that you need to help you execute the plan. This is the support staff that you need for what I am calling for you to do. Who is your support staff? Who is God telling you that you need to contact or be in touch with or connection with to help you execute what his will is for your marriage, for your household, for your family, for all of the things, right? But he's going to give you that structure.
For us to see, the will of the truth.
She was a wise woman.
You don't know what you don't know, right? So once you're exposed to something new, you're like, wow, this is how it's supposed to. I don't know what to do. He will, of course, cover me in prayer.
I've done things my own way, very erroneous.
When I tell you endured, it was just an overflow of every emotion.
The word widow, I completely despise.
Hated this area of sex so much.
Hey, Kingdom Wife Mom Boss, thank you so much for joining me on this 1 year anniversary episode of the Kingdom Wife Mom Boss podcast. We just celebrated a couple of days ago the Kingdom Wife Mom Boss podcast that has been in action for 1 year. And I shared on there that I recorded my first episode essentially laying in my bed with my pajamas on. It was my birthday. And I was so tired, y'all. All I wanted to do was just lay in my bed and chill out. And God's gonna be like, hey, I need you to take care of something. And so I just got up and I was like, you know what? If I don't do it right now, I'm not gonna do it. And so I got up and I did what God was asking me to do, which was record the first episode of the Kingdom Wife Mom Boss podcast to start that podcast. And I'm so grateful that I was able to say yes to that. I've met some amazing women. I've had some amazing women to come on the show and share so much wisdom, so many nuggets, things that they've experienced that they want to pour into the Kingdom Wife Mom Boss community. Whether it was ministry, whether it was marriage, we talked about kids every now and then. We talked about midlife situations. We talked about bedroom situations. We talked about spiritual situations, how our spiritual life is going and how our ministry is going. We've talked about so much information. And so if you have certain topics that you need to talk about or certain things that you have going on in your life, go back in some of those episodes and listen into what these women had to pour out. It's just been an amazing year of wisdom and powerful Kingdom Wife Mom Bosses coming on the show. And of course, I want to thank you for being with us and celebrating with us. And let me take this out. For being with us and for celebrating with us throughout the year. It's been an amazing year, and I'm excited to see what's going to happen next. And I realize that a lot of the conversations that we have on Kingdom Wife Mom Boss is self-accountable. It really is a self journey. Being a wife, being a mother, being in ministry, whatever it is a self journey. When you go, and we're all kingdom, we know we have to stand before the Lord and give an account of our life. When you go and you give an account of your life, you're going to have to give an account of your life as a wife. I think that the world loves to glamorize being a wife. And while it is an amazing, position to be in, it's not all glamorous, but they want to glamorize it, thinking of it not as a kingdom assignment, but just as a status or a title. Well, girl, when you get in front of the Lord, you're going to have to take that status and that title and explain or have a conversation with the Lord about how you use that to impact the kingdom. Being a wife is a kingdom assignment. Being a mother is a kingdom assignment. Yes, the business is an assignment. The ministry is an assignment. It's all an assignment. But I think a lot of women don't understand the weightiness of being a kingdom wife when it comes to honoring God in your marriage and honoring God with your children and in your life. It's a kingdom assignment, and it is a self journey. Not meaning that you're going to be alone the whole time in the journey, but it is a journey of evaluating yourself, making sure that you are in alignment, that you are showing up the way that you're supposed to show up, and you're doing what you are supposed to do. And that is why we have a lot of the conversations that we have on the Kingdom Life My Boss podcast, because I want you to be aware that you have impact to make as a wife. You have impact to make as a mother. You have assignment, and the conversations that we have are curated in a way that I want you to think about yourself. I want you to think about where you are, what you're doing, and if you're in alignment with what it is that God has spoken for your life. But here's where I probably lose a lot of my wives. The healing that you're looking to take place in your marriage, the deliverance that you're looking to take place in your marriage, the healing for your household, the healing for your children, the growth, all of these things that we are looking to take place of, it starts with you. It starts with your healing. It starts with your deliverance. It starts with your breakthrough. It starts with you. And so when we don't do the work to make sure that we're good, to make sure that what we are pouring out is a healed version of ourselves, a whole version of ourselves, our best self, right? Living our best life, the best version of ourselves. Then we're pouring a tainted us. We're pouring a half truth. We're pouring toxic waste, honestly, some of the times. And I think where I lose a lot of wives or moms or just business people, well, like whoever, whatever you are, is I'm asking you to be accountable for yourself. Again, I'm not saying that the way that people treat you or what has been done to you is not wrong. I'm not saying that you shouldn't feel the way that you feel. I get why you feel the way you feel. But you have to be accountable for yourself. And that means you can't accept every offense that is thrown at you. You can't accept every hurt. You can't accept every trauma. Sometimes are we going to feel it? Yeah, absolutely. But holding yourself accountable is making sure that you have the right people around you also that's going to help you identify and recognize these things so that you can go to the Lord and have a conversation with him on these things to see how you can be delivered, to see how you can be whole, to see how you can be set free. I'm a transformational coach. We already know that, right? What do you need in your life in this season? What do you need deliverance or healing from so that you can see the truth and the promise of God for your marriage? I think a lot of the times when people get married, they are expecting their husbands to fill in. I think it was Will and Jada that was talking about like they were looking for each other to bring each other happiness. Not the most ideal couples to be talking about kingdom stuff, but what they said was so important because a lot of marriages do that. They look to one another to bring the happiness, to bring the joy. You should already have happiness. You should already have joy. You should already have peace, and you pour it into one another, right? And so when we get into these marital situations and we begin to see that we're not as healed as we thought we were, or we're not as delivered as we thought we were, like trigger moments start happening. We can't look to our husband to bring us a level of healing or bring us a level of joy. We sincerely have to look to God and ask him to help us overcome whatever it is that we're struggling with so that we can have the peace and the happiness and the joy and the love that we need to walk out this role as kingdom wives. But here's the hard part. Your husband can be, I mean, we've had conversations about being unequally yoked. We've had conversations about infidelity. We've had these conversations. Your husband can be not on the right path or not on the right course to what it is that you know your marriage should look like. And you can't take it out on your husband. You can't go to your husband and try to force his hand to act or to be a certain way, to say a certain thing. Like you can't do it. You have no control, no dominion over your husband. You always got to go to God and ask him for direction. And here's where where you have the accountable part. When you go to God and ask him for direction in your marriage, you asking him, where should you go and what should you do? God's going to give you the instruction. I wish that the instruction was always to stay in a place, but sometimes God's instruction is not to stay in a place. Sometimes God's instruction for on account of what other women have said, that God very specifically told them that, it was time for them, their time was up. And so while I wish that that's not always true, it's also why it's so important. Like, we're going to counseling and we're getting coaching and we're listening to podcasts and we're reading books, like we're doing all of this stuff. But what did God say about your marriage? Where did God tell you that your marriage is going? How did he tell you to respond or how to act or how to be in your kingdom marriage? You have to have God's order. You have to have God's decree for your marriage. Everybody else is just to help you facilitate. It is to give you the support. It is to give you the experience. It is to give you the wisdom. It is to give you the knowledge so that you're not walking this journey by yourself. We are support staff, coaches, ministers, therapist, mental health counselor. Like, we are support staff. You have an execution, you have an order from the Lord of what he's saying about your kingdom marriage. We're just going to help you walk that line. So when we go to the Lord and we ask him and we have a conversation with him, if he tells you that you need to stay, then it is your job to ask him, how do you want me to stay? How do you want me to facilitate this? How do you want me to walk this thing out? How do you want me to speak? How do you want me to respond? And can I tell you from personal experience, it takes a severe dying to yourself. A severe dying to yourself. You can't keep popping off at the mouth. You can't keep saying little triggering, slick, sly remarks like it ain't nothing. Like, we hear you. The Lord like, we hear the Lord hears you. Like, we all hear you, right? When you go to God and you ask him for those instructions, die to yourself and follow those instructions. If he say your time is up, ask him how. What do you need to do? When I went to God in the season that I was having a hard time, I mean, everything was crazy. My mother, my husband, I wasn't sleeping. Like, it was a lot. Work, it was a lot. I said, God, what is going on and what do I need? And he said, you need a coach, you need a therapist. Like, he literally was like, hey, this is who you need. This is the support staff that you need to help you execute the plan. This is the support staff that you need for what I am calling for you to do. Who is your support staff? Who is God telling you that you need to contact or be in touch with or connection with to help you execute what his will is for your marriage, for your household, for your family, for all of the things, right? But he's going to give you that structure. He's going to give you that order. And you have to walk it out according to his instruction. And I'm going to tell you why. He's giving you a decree. He's giving you a word. And when you stand before him, you need to be able to say that you followed. You need to be able to say that you submitted. You need to be able to say that you were obedient, that you died to yourself. You died to your own will. You died to your own desire. You died to the expectations of people. And you were obedient to what he was instructing for you to do in your kingdom marriage. It is a self journey. It is a self journey of walking out the instructions of God. What are the instructions of God for your kingdom marriage? And have you died to yourself and submitted your heart and your mind and your spirit to be obedient to what he's instructing for you to do? Furthermore, identify the thing that you don't like. Identify what it is. And that sounds, I mean, honestly, because God is God, that sounds so arrogant to say that I know God gave me these instructions, but I don't like them. But it's truth, it's what you're feeling. Identify what it is that you are feeling concerning the instructions that he has given you. And in that place, identify your obedience to those instructions. And then turn. Turn from your disobedience and be obedient to what it is that he is calling for you to do in this season. In the book, Thriving Decrees for the Kingdom Wife Mom Boss, I don't tell you to look to the left, look to the right. I don't tell you to look at your husband. I don't tell you to look at the world around you. Like, this book is literally between you and God. It is talking points of identifying things within ourselves, taking those things to God, decreeing scripture over these things, making decrees based off the scriptures concerning these things, and affirming in us. Because when you decree the word of God, and you're decreeing certain aspects of the word into your situation, you're essentially telling that thing that it has to move. And when you tell that thing that it has to move, you have to be filled. And so we're affirming God's word into ourselves and then assigning ourselves maintenance assignments. Maintenance assignments to keep us aligned in purpose, going, thriving in what it is that we just been delivered from. Like we're gonna make sure that we are staying in alignment and not going back the direction that we just came from. And of course we're gonna give a prayer of thanksgiving, because God, we thank you for allowing us to have healing. We thank you for allowing us to have deliverance. We thank you for allowing us to have breakthrough. Speaking of the fortified wife, I gotta bring that challenge back around. I talk about it every now and then, but I gotta bring that challenge back around because it really does challenge the wife to see herself. And in a world where we kind of just want, in a world where things have been done to us, we do kind of just want to blame other people for what it is that we're experiencing, what it is that we've gone through, what it is that we feel. And I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with that. I'm not saying that you're wrong in the situation, but I am saying that the healing is your responsibility. The deliverance is your responsibility. We have a choice. We can hold on to the offense. We can hold on to the trauma. We can hold on to all of these things that keep us bound and stagnant, or we can choose to hand them over to God and grow and heal and be delivered from these things that are keeping us bound. It really is a choice. It's not an easy choice, but it really is a choice. So we're coming up on Thanksgiving. We are coming up on the end of the year. We're getting ready to walk into 2026. I hope you've been sitting with God to get some plans for your marriage, for your family, for your business, for all of these things, to find out the direction that your heart and your mind needs to be focused on for this upcoming season. And really just sitting down and making those plans with God, so that you listen, we are looking to walk in everything that God has said is ours and that we can. So I'll tell you what we're gonna do. We're gonna play some clips from our favorite episodes of the Kingdom Wife Mom Boss podcast. Maybe not our favorite episodes, but just some impactful clips that have gone forth from some of the women that we've had conversations with. And I pray that it blesses you. I want you guys to have an amazing Thanksgiving. And I am going to catch you next week. Stay on. We're gonna go ahead and roll those clips for you.
I have done things my own way very erroneously, and I have suffered the consequences of my following my own advice and not listening to the voice of God, even though I've heard it, and not obeying the word of God. And so whenever God tells me to do something for his people, I don't ask any questions now. Not that I don't resist doing it now. My question is, okay, how and when?
Now that we had a goal, I couldn't be passive. And I also know that he doesn't respond well to aggression. So I had to just be assertive. And it helped me get out of this, like, whatever state I was in, to communicate better and communicate the way he needed me to communicate with him. And same thing for him to communicate with me. It helped him let go of his ego and share the fact that, like, hey, you know what, she is pretty smart and gifted and she is a leader. Let me trust her. So he learned to trust me. He learned to let down his ego and receive the help that he said that he wanted. And so and that transferred into our marriage, right? And so all of these things that we were working on, it that we are experiencing professionally, transferred into our marriage. And so we're like, whoa. So as partners, we now are like, we got to tell other people about this.
Every time I had a vision, he was the one I was sharing it with. I remember one morning I heard like the drums. Like there's this sound that I kept hearing with the assigned experience. It was like I heard the beat so clearly, and we're getting ready for church, and I just come out the bathroom. I'm like, babe, I hear these drums. I see them marching like boom, boom, boom. And I was just telling him, And he's like, yes, and he's marching around the house with me. We didn't have any women enrolled yet, y'all. But like he was just believing God with me for the fulfillment of God's promise.
There are 13 different types of intimacy we can experience in marriage. Sex is only one of them. Sex is supposed to be the celebration of intimacy that you have established before you ever get to the bedroom. Now, I know that some of y'all have been taught that men need sex in order to feel emotionally intimate. So you have to give him sex so that he will emotionally connect to you. That is unbiblical and backwards. Because if you go to the Song of Solomon, you will see that Solomon emotionally connected with the Shulamite woman before they had sex. That is the biblical setup. Okay, we've got that out of the way.
Knowing how to pray as a wife before you know how to put it down in the bedroom is of the most important thing that I could probably tell you.
So when I first got the news from God, I was kind of like, why did you send me this way? You know?
I love the
Um,
honesty.
like, well, why'd you send me to do all of this if you knew I was gonna go here? And he's revealed certain different things on like, like you said, he doesn't waste any of those seasons. So it's been rewarding when you take the time to look back, from a broader perspective. Of course, we can't see from God's perspective, but as time continues to go on, you can kind of see how he's putting things together.
If you can't do that, how can we pride ourselves in making it to heaven and the people closest to us bust hell wide open? How is that a flex to God? How is that a flex to the kingdom?
Right.
How can we shout and dance our shoes off, sweat our wigs out, right? And then the people closest to us end up in hell. Not on my watch. I'm sorry, I'm not like the enemy can try everything, but not on my watch because God assigned him to me. He said, this woman is help for him. This is the woman that I said she can handle it. So why would I walk away if God said I can handle it? If he has endowed me with dunamis power that lives in me, how can I live defeated?
We don't realize how intimate our spirit man is with us. And it was just the overflow of every emotion a person can ever feel, like it just happened. It was just so much stuff that had to come out, and it was necessary because after that book was published, that's when I really got into coaching, because there were so many people in leadership, people that are down the street, people that are in corporate offices, people that are trying to just survive, needed to hear somebody else say it.
I'm sitting on my bed, and the Lord says, your husband got the administrative assistant at the funeral home pregnant. Just like that. And I was like, no, God, you can't be talking to me right now. This is the day before. This is March 31st, 2024. Click. He knew not to come back, right? And I was like, there it is. I can finally do it. Like, so I filed, right? Got my lawyer. Got my lawyer.
Okay to be in midlife. It's okay. You know what I mean? You can be
But I
in midlife
love
in
what
your
you
30s. You can
do.
be, you know what I mean? Because the reality is, what a gift, right? To be thinking that way now, to be realizing what your values are, and to even if you can't pursue every dream that you have right now because your children are priority, right? You get to write those down and say, yeah, they might be on the later list, but I don't want to forget that
Right.
heart's desire. I don't want to forget that creativity. I don't want to forget that dream, or how I believe God is saying, like, yeah, you can, use this gift in this way. You don't want to forget that.
And so that's what I've learned. And so many women in business that I partner with are so afraid to let other people into their business. They refuse to get a business coach. They refuse to hire for help. They refuse to ask, anything of anybody because they think they've got to carry the weight of the business, but nobody can build a business as a solopreneur. Like, are you buying your stuff from yourself? At some point, somebody is going to be in your business. And so we're sold such a false narrative about what it means to be an entrepreneur.
We are designed to help individuals understand that they don't have to live with taking medicine and a diagnosis. So we help people understand that a diagnosis is not a death sentence, more a check engine light. So it's something that's wrong with the body. So we have to readjust what we're doing and go from there.
Oh, that's really good. I really, really love that. So it's funny that you said, normally y'all start on the 14th. This is the first time that I can remember since my kids have been in school that they started school back on a Monday. And I'm thinking, y'all gonna have a rough week. Normally they start on a Wednesday, so you only got like a couple of days,
Yeah.
and then you got the weekend.
Kind of easing you back in.
Baby, what? They was like, no, get up in there. Starting them on a Monday. They got the whole week, and I'm like, you know what? We have to be a good steward over our money. And so I absolutely love that. And you said sometimes you get married couples, and I've never asked you this. Have you ever been married?
Yes.
Okay.
I have been married. I'm not anymore. And yeah, that when it comes to finances, at that time, I was the one on the other side, like, yeah, okay, whatever. I'm just gonna be honest. I was not. I was in a sense in agreement, but I didn't play my part. And that brought division. And that's the really reality of it. If you have one that's trying to go this way with the money and you're trying to go that way, it's not going to work. It's not going to work.
Because as I mentioned, I growing up, I used to go to church and I thought like that was it. I'm like, oh, I'm a Christian. I go to church on Sundays and that's it. Like, so for me, he taught me about a relationship. He's like, okay, it's more to it than that. And it wasn't in a condemning or shameful type of way. He was like, no, it's about relationship. It's more than just going to church on Sunday. And so that right there was like, really? There's more to this? He was like, yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah. So it was
That sounds amazing. God called us to be the head and not the tail, right? The head leads. And so you lead in every single thing that you do. You create an influence and you create an impact. And your impact better be kingdom. That is what God called you for. He blessed you with the children. He blessed you with the husband. He blessed you with whatever it is, the home, the car, the position. He blessed you with people who see you a certain way. And what we do with that level, what we do with that stage, what we do with that level of influence is we impact the kingdom by leading in such a way that it turns people's hearts and their minds to Christ. That is what your kingdom leadership is for. Hey, I hope that you enjoyed the episode. Make sure that you catch us every week here on the Kingdom Wife Mom Boss podcast, where we are bringing you new episodes, new content, new information, new empowerment, new strategies, and new strength. Until then, I'll catch you next time.